facing fraud and corruption charges over the appointment of 30-year-old Dineo Mokwele to an executive position within crime intelligence. The prosecutors allege that she has no policing capabilities, knowledge or skills, but they have since been cleared of any wrongdoing in an internal SAPS process. Modise has more.
Despite Dumsani Khumalo and his co-accused being cleared of wrongdoing in an internal SAPS process, the investigating directorate is still pursuing them for fraud and corruption. One of their bail conditions in June was that they are prohibited from entering the premises of the Crime Intelligence Unit. Now that they've been cleared by SAPS, their employer, they've brought an application to court to challenge this condition. But the directorate's Henry Mamotame says the matter cannot be heard today in court.
Unfortunately, we couldn't sit today. When we got here, we were told that most of the courtrooms flooded over the weekend, and our matter had to be postponed. Therefore, we will possibly come back on Friday should the cleanup be completed on Wednesday.
Earlier this month, the matter had to be heard in the Commercial Crimes Court as there were no courtrooms available in the Magistrates Court. Khomoza Modise, Eyewitness News in Pretoria.
Residents in Westbury and surrounding areas have refuted Joburg Mayor Dada Morero's claims that interventions to restore water are on track, saying their taps are still partially dry. The areas have been dealing with water cuts for months now due to a problematic water system leading to protests last week. This prompted a response by Joburg officials who cut off water supply in other areas to increase supply in the reservoirs of the affected areas. During a briefing at the Alexandra Park Reservoir in Kensington earlier today, Morero assured residents that a solution is underway.
The other areas that we were at last week, they are now getting water because of the interventions that we are doing. We're doing the very same interventions in this area.
However, Westbury resident Bianca Oliver says while 15 water tankers have been placed in the area, this is not enough for everyone. She adds that the mayor's briefing today does not reflect their lived reality.
That is lies. The water came on and then the water goes off and now again it's off again. So the mayor's just talking is nonsense.
In the south of Joburg, the ANC is set to unveil a plan which it says will end load reduction in the next 18 months. Load reduction is when municipalities cut off electricity to areas where there is excessive usage, largely due to illegal connections. It's slightly different from load shedding, which happens on a national scale and is implemented by Eskom to ease pressure on the country's electricity grid. Thousands of ANC councillors from across the country are currently gathered at the FNB Stadium to receive a service delivery action plan from the party's national leadership. ANC National Executive Member and also the Electricity Minister, Josian Ramakgopa, says resolving the energy issue will also assist councillors who have to deal with angry community members regularly.
The intention is that in not more than 18 months, we should have ended load reduction. I'm confident that we can do it much earlier if we get cooperation of communities and ensure that we roll out smart meters and then we don't penalize those that are paying. The situation we're having now is that people are connected to the same transformer. I'm paying, my neighbor is not paying, and yet I'm subjected to load reduction. That comes to an end.
Patriotic Alliance leader Gayton McKenzie says he won't be taken for a ride by the ANC in Joburg as the coalition in the city stalls on a decision to appoint a new transport MMC. The position became vacant in July when Kenny Kunene resigned as a councillor and was recalled as transport MMC. This came after he was found at the home of murder-accused businessman Katiso Molefe. Molefe is currently behind bars for allegedly orchestrating the murder of artist Opa Safoka, commonly known as DJ Somebody. The Patriotic Alliance's new recruit, 24-year-old Liam Jacobs, was the party's first preference to replace Kunene, but it's understood the ANC and other coalition partners did not agree. In a regular briefing to party supporters last night, McKenzie announced he would make a decision on the matter today.
Now, all of a sudden, this ANC is playing games with us. Now we must take something else. EFF wants our position. So tomorrow evening we'll tell you the decision that the Patriotic Alliance is going to take. But we cannot say once Baizani than Baizans. So just know that tomorrow evening you will know which decision the PA is taking.
In the U.S., Treasury says it's close to reaching a deal with China to settle their dispute over TikTok. Congress passed a law at the beginning of the year that required the social media platform's parent company, ByteDance, to sell its business of Face being shut down in America. After initially calling for TikTok to be banned during his first term, President Donald Trump has gone on to postpone the deadline 3 times so far, the latest due to expire on Wednesday. U.S. and Chinese officials are holding a second day of trade talks in Spain today as the deadline looms in the latest attempt to end a trade war between the world's 2 biggest economies. Top-level trade delegations from Beijing and Washington last met in July when they struck a deal to extend their tariffs truce by another 90 days until November 10th. Gold's trading at $3,640.75 an ounce. The rand's at 17.34 to the dollar, at 23.60 to the pound, at 20.39 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $67.19 a barrel.
In Calvin, there's an accident scene on the M1 southbound. This is near Marlborough Drive, causing about a 30-minute delay all the way from the Petrie interchange. You look out for those faulty traffic lights in Alex, Marlborough Drive and Far East Bank, as well as in Rand Park Ridge at Bayes Nordia and the N1.
Look at your weather. Clear skies in Gauteng this afternoon. Temperatures are peaking at highs between 25 and 28 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour: the bail amendment matter involving crime intelligence boss Dumsane Khumalo has stalled in the Pretoria Magistrates Court due to flooding in some courtrooms.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Live
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Hello, I'm Jane Dutton and I'm back at work after a week knocked out by laryngitis. My voice got so bad I sounded like a foghorn, and my voice is deep anyway, so having a scratchy voice meant that I couldn't record last week. But it did prompt some funny memories of my time in Qatar. I was asked twice actually, to make my voice higher. Once during a car negotiation when I wanted to buy one, the dealer said to me, "Could you pitch your voice up just a little bit? It'll give you more of a chance of getting a discount." And then another time I was asked to record a voiceover. It was about some hospital in Doha, but they wanted me to speak in a squeaky voice. And I was like, why hire me of all people? But then I thought, well, if the client is playing, I'm squeaky, I would go. So it really got me thinking, how much are we willing to tweak or change ourselves to fit in or to please somebody else? Have you ever been asked to change anything on your body? Would you go as far as surgery, cosmetic or otherwise? Have you ever been tempted? And have you seen those surgery jobs that just go horribly wrong? So I want to hear from you. What's the one thing you think about changing? Did you go through with it? Maybe you know somebody you did with good or bad results. Call me and share your story. What is the line between self-improvement and losing yourself? At Hoppers One, we're talking movies, what to stream. I've just finished watching Mobland, which I loved. We're also going to be talking about the Emmys. And yes, we're talking about this now like brownies. We're going to be prepared. In our travel feature, we're talking about Christmas markets. At 2 o'clock in parenting and parent section, wordless books that support early literacy. Do you have a story for us about that? And then, of course, we end with the naked scientist, Chris Smith, who seems to know everything from infinity and beyond. Let me remind you of the numbers: 011 883 0702. Tweet me at Radio 702 or at Jane Dutton. Email us at 702afternoons@702.co.za. WhatsApp on 072 702 1702 or on Facebook. We've got you covered.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
So listen to this I thought it was quite a disturbing statistic. 19 out of 20 young women would change their bodies. So I want to know, is there something about your body that you have thought of changing, and why? Did somebody make you feel bad about it? Have you made your nose smaller? Have you made it bigger? Would you ever consider surgery to make the change? And how much surgery? Is it okay to have like a little tweak here or there? or would you go the whole hog? I mean, people of all genders worry about their bodies, but sometimes in different ways. And I want to know, men, from you, what's it about your body that makes you feel insecure? I mean, I was just reading that the most popular surgery amongst men is to make themselves taller. I mean, it just seems incredible and, well, obviously sophisticated. Look, I mean, you can do the most incredible surgery by just using robotics. So I don't see why we shouldn't be able to make ourselves taller. And if I'd known about that, I would have done that years ago. I've had surgery on my nose. I broke it. I tripped over nothing sexy about it, tripped over a very small step, smashed my teeny weeny nose, and I had to be operated on it 3 times. And because it was such a big job that I did to myself. And after the 3rd time, and you'd think after 3 times they might as well give me a really straight one. Anyway, it's not. And that's all I see when I look in the mirror, this squiffy nose. But I guess that I'm stuck with it, and I'm not going to go through any more surgery. And I've had to bond with my relatively new nose. So what have you done? Come on, I know that surgery is massive. In South Africa, the cosmetic surgery and procedure market was about 15.5 billion rand in 2024, and it's expected to nearly double to 28 billion by 2030. In 2023, there were more than 85,000 aesthetic procedures performed in this country. And of those, more than 37,000 were surgical. So that's face, breast, and body, including 1,700 rhinoplasties. That's the name for nose surgeries. So, I mean, you often see when you're driving around town those cheap papers stuck onto trees and offering all sorts of extensions. Have you ever had one of those extensions? And you know what I'm talking about. Those nether region extensions. How much did it cost you? And have you ever had a bad experience where you went to do something maybe on your face, on your breast, or your stomach, and it didn't work out? And where has it left you? I mean, you know, in South Africa and many other countries, people do it, the dodgy dealings, those who do not have the correct qualifications to perform this kind of thing, which can lead to horrible infections. Has this ever happened to you? Come on, give me a call. I want to hear. I bet you lots of you have had some kind of surgery, and you can speak to us. You can be anonymous, but just tell us what you did, why you did it, and how much it cost.
Let's count backward. 5, insurance. 4, pineapple. 3, insurance. 2, pineapple. 1, you're under. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
On the 20th and 21st of September, the DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, brings you the flavour, the music and the vibe. With international stars, South Africa's top performers, delicious food from local artisans, and fashion that turns heads, it's the ultimate heritage weekend experience. Gather your friends on Saturday, make it a family picnic day on Sunday. Join interactive cooking demos, explore vibrant art, and celebrate 30 years of DSTV, bringing entertainment to Africa. One ticket gives you access to it all. Visit ticketmaster.co.za with more on deliciousfestival.com.
Sir, ma'am, may I take your order?
Yeah, let me get the New York cut, medium rare, truffle fries on the side, and the lady'll have the salmon. Grilled, not poached. 2 dirty martinis. Real dirty.
Leafy, what's with the voice?
Oh, I came over all Tony Soprano.
Get into character on a city break with Premier Hotels and Resorts. Stay Friday and Saturday and get Sunday night for free. Book now at premierhotels.co.za.
From the sands of our land, it all begins. A journey that turns raw potential into something extraordinary. Our strength isn't just in what we create, it's in the lives we transform along the way. Our craft, our heritage, in our hands. Asante Glass. Excellence in glass.
Looking for real ways to live greener? Then don't miss Green Tip of the Week, your weekly dose of sustainable inspiration. From eco-entrepreneurs to climate champions, we sit down with the people making real change. Catch Green Tip of the Week every Tuesday on Afternoon Drive with John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m. Only on 702. Proudly brought to you by Volvo. It's safe to be brave with Volvo.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
So I'm Jane Dutton in for Relebogile, and we're talking about the sort of things that you want to do to change your body, to change the way you look, possibly. Have you been asked to make your voice a little higher like I was? And did you go that route? And if somebody asked you, somebody said to you, listen, I don't like your nose. Please go and have it made smaller or bigger. Would you go and do that? Has anybody ever asked you for that before? Lucky says, every time I wear shorts, women especially say I have women's legs and would claim that I'd nearly been a woman. So it always makes me feel uncomfortable. Now I wear long trousers, always. Lucky from Tembisa. Thanks for that, Lucky. And would you consider doing anything different to your legs because of that? I should imagine having women's legs is probably a compliment. Maybe you just need to get your head round it. What is other people been saying about this? A UK survey found that nearly 40% of women over 50 said that they've considered cosmetic tweaks because of ageism in the workplace. Not vanity, but survival. Is that what we've become? I mean, I think so. I mean, I look at some of my my colleagues on TV, and they never age. They sort of go through the Benjamin Button thing of getting younger looking every time I see them. And how far would you go? I mean, a little, get my head around little tweaks to the top of the eyelids, that kind of thing. But pulling your entire face. I mean, there was the infamous case of Jocelyn Wildenstein. She's the Catwoman of New York. And I don't know if you've seen pictures of her, but absolutely petrifying. She spent millions on surgeries trying to look feline and is now known worldwide for a botched look. And I mean, you can see it everywhere around you, don't you? I was in Cape Town recently, and I went and had a sauna, which was fantastic, and then I went for an ice cold swim. And there was lots of ladies all lying on their backs, and you could tell that every single one of them had had a boob job. So I was like, wow. So, I mean, it's quite a popular thing. I mean, there are statistics about how popular it is. Globally, liposuction is now the most popular, liposuction rather, is now the most popular cosmetic surgery. And that's overtaking breast augmentation in 2023. Among non-surgical procedures, Botox and fillers are by far the most common. Have you had that? Is that as far as you would go? The first time I had Botox was maybe about 10 years ago, again when I was living in Qatar. And none of us had had it before. And we heard that one of the doctors, who was a doc to the celebrities, was going to be in Dubai. And he was going to be, jabbing many faces. And off we hopped on the plane. And we popped over to Dubai. And he had put so much into my face that I could barely speak. But so, I mean, I wish you could, if you could see me through the radio, you could see what I was doing. But basically, my top lip completely disappeared. I just had these big teeth hanging out, and when I laughed, there was no expression, no change of expression in my face. It was absolutely awful. Bella Hadid, in her 2022 Vogue cover story, shared that she regrets her nose job at 14. She says, I wish I'd kept the nose of my ancestors, she said. I think I would have grown into it. What do you make of that? I mean, she's obviously that very well-known and very famous model. Friends of mine, daughter had very big ears when she was growing up, and they had lots of conversations with her about having surgery if she wanted to. And the daughter, at quite a young age, said, "No, I mean, these are my ears, and I'm sticking to it." And she still has these big ears today, and she's grown into it, and it's fantastic. So I'm wondering what your thoughts are. We know of a 26-year-old man who had the procedure to increase his height. As I said earlier, I didn't know that you could actually do that. And this individual underwent height increasing limb lengthening surgery. He spent tens of thousands of dollars to grow from 5'5" to 6 foot. I mean, that's quite a big jump, right, in height. And he underwent the apparently very painful procedure in Turkey, which involved breaking and gradually extending his leg bones using internal rods and external devices, followed by months of rehabilitation to rebuild mobility. And apparently, he shared his experience, his name Denzel Seigers, to help others who may have felt similarly insecure about their height. And then we've got the Amy Schumer. She's a famous comedian. And she revealed in 2022 that she had liposuction following the birth of her son. Have you had liposuction? Is it something that you would consider doing? I believe it's rather painful, and it's expensive. I think small surgery in South Africa goes from about like 13,000. That's for your top the lid, and can go well into 200,000 depending what you're doing. I mean, a friend of mine who lives overseas, she's come round. She came to South Africa recently, and she's one of those girls. She's never worn lipstick. She's never painted her nails. And then suddenly she came to South Africa and she had a boob and a stomach job. I couldn't believe it. And then the next thing I saw her, she painted her nails, and she just said it's changed her life. Come on, I want to hear from you. There must be somebody there. Don't be shy. I mean, if you hear how many people have had these surgeries in South Africa in particular, I know that there are lots of you out there. Did it make you feel good about yourself? Did it change how you perceived yourself? I mean, I was talking a little bit earlier about my nose, and then suddenly you just think I'm still the same person, but I'm a different person because my nose is a little bit off kilter. Christy Tegan, John Legend's wife, Chrissy, she said, I had an armpit sucked out, which was one of the best things. That's a bit strange, isn't it? I guess maybe if she was sweating a lot, possibly. I mean, I know that you can use Botox to stop sweating. And these are the things that people are most insecure about. Obviously, this is a no-brainer. Weight, body fat. It's the number one issue pertaining to men and women. Desire for weight loss, for slimmer waistline, for a flatter stomach. And the stomach and the abdomen, many people want a flat tummy or toned abs. They commonly targeted with liposuction, ab workouts and tummy tucks. But I know a couple of people have had tummy tucks, and you've got to do quite a bit of research before you do something like this, because apparently you might not be the right candidate to have a tummy tuck. Dolly Parton, I mean, come on. We all know how much she's had. I mean, she looks amazing, doesn't she? And what I love about her is that she laughs and tells us so much about what she's done and why she's done it. Jane Fonda as well. I mean, Dolly Parton admitted to a few cosmetic procedures, including breast implants, a brow lift, and eyelid surgery. I think she's had a whole face done, actually. And Khloe Kardashian. For me, everyone says, oh my gosh, she's had a third face transplant. But I've just had one nose job. It was obviously a good one. I've got a message here. Jane, I want a boob, nose, BBL job. What's that? But I'd start with boob. Any good affordable place out there? Please send me the details, Audie. I mean, there are. I know that South Africa is seen as one of the top destinations for this type of surgery, and they call these safari surgeries. And it's very funny. You see lots of people sitting in one of the trucks, going out to watch the game, and they've got something strapped around their head, strapped around their nose, strapped around their boobs, and then you go and watch the lions and the elephants, and you recover there. And by the time you get back to work, everyone's just saying to you, "Wow, you look fantastic. What is it about you? There's something that just is slightly different. What is it?" And you just go, "Oh, I had no idea how much I needed this holiday, how much I needed to get away." Gwyneth Paltrow, she's 50. She says she'll try anything except I won't do Botox again because I looked crazy. She said I looked like Joan Rivers, and Joan Rivers has had a lot done as well. Yeah, I mean, there's that funny thing about Botox. I think it either works for you well or you get my kind of weird experience. And the problem is, for 3 months, I looked like this weird chick with no top lip. And not that there's anything wrong with no top lip, but when you have a lip and then suddenly your top lip disappears, you do look weird. And smiling with no expression at all. It was kind of scary. I think even my dogs looked at me and ran away in fear. So come on, I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 011-883-0702. I've told you my story. Tell me about yours. What have you had done? You don't have to give us your name. And what, I mean, I'm intrigued. I mean, can you have your toes done? I mean, I know you can certainly have your bottom enlarged. Has anybody done that? You can also have the skin above your knees pulled, because as you get a little older, everything starts to just sag a little bit. So has that happened to you? All right, we've got a caller on the line, Michelle from Johannesburg. Good afternoon to you.
Hi, good afternoon.
What happened to you?
So I'm not calling with good news. I just want to caution listeners of things that can go wrong. And I went through a heinous experience. I actually even wrote a book about it. It was a kind of a beacon of light to get through to the other side. Writing this book and getting my message out. I went in for liposuction, and my body just turned on itself. I had on my stomach and my thighs, my torso area, and it just kind of started some kind of autoimmune response. I still haven't found the exact answer for this, of what had happened. I've gone to see specialists. I've done research. I've never come across anything like this before, but it's happened to me. And
what did the surgeon say?
No, he'd never heard of anything like this before. It took me 7 years to go see him, though. It was I went down a real dark spiral of self-blame and shame, and I didn't speak to anybody for the first year. I was just so ashamed, and I just couldn't reconcile what I had done. My body just got bigger instead of smaller. My skin changed texture, the color changed, the pain. I had shooting pain throughout my body. And I had these like migrations of fat and fluid that were going from one part of my body to the next. So my breasts increased in size by about 2 sizes. My thighs changed. My whole body basically was possessed. I've kind of, I had to take measures into my own hands and change my whole lifestyle. I took to exercising like my life depended on it. I started doing triathlons, and I changed my eating habits. I stopped drinking alcohol, and I just put everything into turning my life around. And I managed to lose the weight, but my body mold completely changed. I mean, I never had big arms. I never had a big neck, and that now I've got fat that has dispersed to those areas of my body.
And as you say, the irony is you went there to get rid of
one
that.
part. Yes, exactly.
So what's your message?
My message is just do your research, like things could go wrong no matter what you do, and no matter how much research you do, and no matter what caliber of surgeon you go to, like things can still go wrong. So just be aware of that.
What's the name of your book?
It's a risk. It's called Undone, Healing from Botched Cosmetic Surgery, Michelle Roniak.
An important message, Michelle. Thank you.
Yes, pleasure. Thanks. Okay, bye.
It's now 1:30. Time for the news headlines.
Thanks, Jane. Good afternoon. The bail amendment matter involving crime intelligence boss Dumisani Khumalo has stalled in the Pretoria Magistrates Court due to flooding in some courtrooms. The court was set to hand down judgment on an application brought by Khumalo and 3 co-accused. Khumalo and 6 others are facing fraud and corruption charges over the appointment of 30-year-old Dineo Mokoele to an executive position within crime intelligence. The prosecutors allege that she has no policing capabilities, knowledge or skills. The Umkhonto weSizwe Party says it's reckless for the Madlanga Commission into alleged police corruption to commence this week, while its case against its establishment is still pending. The Commission is due to start its public hearings on Wednesday, while the MK Party and its president, Jacob Zuma, are set to argue their case before the Gauteng High Court in Pretoria on Thursday. The party claims this is not a scheduling coincidence, but rather a calculated maneuver to preempt and undermine the court challenge. And in Turkey, an Ankara court has adjourned a key hearing into alleged vote buying that could topple the leadership of Turkey's main opposition parties. The case seeks to overturn the result of a CHP Congress in November 2023 on grounds of vote rigging. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at 2 o'clock or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you're heading towards Sandton, that's leaving the Midrand area. We're still dealing with that accident scene, M1 southbound near Marlborough Drive, causing about a 30-minute delay all the way from the Batlou interchange. Also, leaving the Joburg CBD, expect some delays on Main Reef Road. This is approaching Church Street. Traffic lights out of order in Edenvale, Modderfontein Road and Van Riebeek. There's also faulty traffic lights in Rand Park Ridge at Beyers, Nodia and the N1. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Spar makes sure family always comes first. From fresh fruit and veggies to bakery treats warm from the oven, Spar gives you freshness, quality and trust every day. Spar value-added services go beyond the basket. Send money, buy bus tickets, recharge airtime or even pay your DSTV. Do it all at Spar without paying a premium price. Spar Mobile puts more savings in your family's pocket. Get unbeatable deals on data, voice and SMS. Plus, earn free data rewards every time you shop. Spar makes it simple. Grab your Spar Mobile SIM at the customer service desk. Pop it in, activate in store or on WhatsApp, and you're good to go. Keep your number or start fresh. The choice is yours. Spar, the informed choice.
It all starts with FNB Private. Diversify your portfolio to grow your wealth. Gain global exposure through shares or unit trusts on the FNB app. Tap into international investments and tax-efficient offshore trusts to build your legacy. Unlock invaluable with FNB Private. Help changes everything. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSB and credit provider. FNB International Trustees, FNB IT registration number 3080. Licensed by the Guernsey Financial Services Commission to conduct fiduciary business. T's and C's apply.
Oh, hello. Let's do a little word association. I'll say some phrases. You see how they make you feel. Retirement, credit card balance, another interest rate hike. Still calm? Well then, you've got the F Factor. It's that special something that comes from having a clear financial plan to manage and protect your finances. If you broke into a sweat, you probably don't have it yet. Visit livewithconfidence.co.za to up your F Factor. Sanlam. Live with confidence. T's and C's apply. Sanlam Life is a licensed life insurer and authorized FSP.
702 Movies.
Yes, we are talking movies with my guest, videographer and the founder of Movies and Stuff, Adelaide Mweng. A very good afternoon to you. So we've just had the Emmys. That was happening last night. And what is it that stood out for you? I mean, I'm very pleased that the Pit scored.
Right. Hi, Jen. How are you? Yeah, I think it's been, this year specifically, the Emmys have done a really good job. I think a lot of the winners that we saw are people or shows that we really expected to actually win. And The Pit obviously wasn't the front runner. I'm not surprised by the fact that The Pit is the front runner. And they essentially, as a show, had 14 nominations. So I really wasn't surprised when I saw that as well. And a lot of other shows that I think didn't have mainstream success, but, did get the credit that they got from the Emmys, are shows like Severance, which did really well as well. I haven't really gotten into Severance as well. It's a very niche type of show, and I do know that it's brilliant, it's amazing, but I'm very aware that it's a very niche type of show, so it has its type of audiences. Also, some of the other shows that were really good front runners that I really didn't expect was Seth Rogen's The Studio, which is actually on Apple TV. Netflix's Adolescence. When it came out, Adolescence was also amazing as well on Netflix. It was also mostly known for the fact that it was a one-shot series. So a lot of what you're seeing on Adolescence, what makes it very special from a technical standpoint, is the fact that a lot of the scenes were shot at one go, which I really need to preface is a very, very difficult thing to do.
So is it? Sorry, Adelaide, we're losing you a little bit. You've gone a little bit softer. So I don't know if you are.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
That's much better.
Sorry, yes. I was just saying that, I really need to preface that it's very difficult to do a one-shot series, for you to be able to do it, even from a technical standpoint, with camera movement, camera angles, actors having to also just, be able to react in real time. And once it's done, it's done. There are no retakes. So I think that really also sets them apart. And also some of the things that they were touching on in Adolescence as well right now with the youth and, parents having that disconnect with their children. I think it was a very good series. And like I said, it didn't have that mainstream success, but those who've watched it can definitely say that it was a really good series. So it was good to see
it's
that.
Unbelievable. And I mean, that little boy, apparently he'd never acted before.
Incredible.
He was extraordinary and frightening. So, what I haven't seen is The Penguin. Is it worth it? Did it deserve?
Actually, I did watch The Penguin. I think that's one of the shows that I actually did watch.
Yeah.
It did really well. It does have, obviously for those who are fans of the DC universe, we all know about the Penguin, who's the villain. But this particular take is just a different type of take where it focuses on him and why he is the way that he is as well. And I think it did a really good job. All the performances were also so amazing. Honestly, the Pit, Severance, The Studio, Adolescence, The Penguin were the main front runners, all of which are on different streaming platforms, like I said. For those who want to catch up on it, the Emmys did air at 2 a.m. this morning, but they will air again at 9 p.m. on DSTV. Okay. And I really hope that you guys give it a chance or give some of the series that won a chance. If not now, then...
I also started watching Severance, and fascinating and rah-rah for, pulling off something that's so different. But then I realized that I didn't care. What I love about The Pit, and it all takes place, they're doctors, and it's an ER, and it's like, it's hectic, and it's extraordinary. It really is.
And it's so funny because The Pit, unfortunately, there are a couple of medical dramas that actually came out between last year and this year. But The Pit has done such a good job that some of the medical series that actually came out this year that had first seasons have been cancelled because they literally were overshadowed by how well the numbers for The Pit has done. So, it's sad, but it is what it is. When you do a good show
and you can't beat a handsome doctor saving somebody's life.
And one who's real down to earth and is a great doctor. Like, I really have to preface that you guys have to watch it. It's honestly one of the best series that we've had in a very long time. There's always medical dramas, but some of them are hit and a miss, but I really think that it is, the hype is not over. Sorry, the hype is not overwhelmed when it comes to The Pit. I think it's definitely well deserved.
Yeah, super slick. Okay, so what can we look forward to? What new shows are dropping this week?
All right. This week we do have a lot of TV shows that are dropping this week. Very fortunate. Not a lot of films, but a lot of shows. And I feel like that's always better because, you get a lot of different episodes instead of just a one-take film. So something that has been doing very well and is actually getting a second season that will be debuting on the 17th of September is a show called High Potential. I don't know if a lot of people know it. It is still fairly new. Like I said, the first season season did come out last year, but season 2 is coming out this year. It streams on Disney Plus. It's dropping on the 17th of September, the second season. And essentially, High Potential is about a mom who actually she has very weird, quirky elements to how she thinks and how she does stuff. Almost borderline OCD, but in the worst kind of, not worst, but the best kind of way for her. And so she's actually a janitor in a police station. And, you know, all she does is just, she does her job, she cleans. And at some point, she sees a bit of whatever the detectives are trying to figure out in a case. And she rewrites and corrects what's happening there. And they ask her, you know, what are you doing? Like, what is somebody who is as smart as you who's doing this type of work? Why don't you want to join us? And she's like, no, guys, I just want to do my work, be a good mom, and that's it. But somehow they convince her to join them in the force and use her skill set to help them solve detective crimes. But there's also a lot of comedy. It's very witty, you know, very quick humor, which I love. It sort of reminds me of Monk. When I was a kid, I used to love watching Monk because I thought this was such a good way of using people's skill sets and some of the different talents that they have to solve crimes. So I think it's something, if you like that type of series that's witty, but also, you know, detective, solving crimes, I think you'll definitely enjoy High Potential. Also very good reviews so far as well.
And we like a story when a janitor is discovered and has these fantastic skills that'll transform their lives. And tell us about Young'uns.
Okay, so Young'uns is a smash hit on Showmax, actually. This is the third season that they're about to get back to. The third season is actually dropping on Friday. The first 3 episodes are even going to drop on Friday, so what a lovely gift. So there's been 3 seasons, as I've said, and Young'uns is actually for the Gen Zs. It's a lovely show that basically surrounds the Olifant 5, which is a bunch of kids in a high school called Olifantsfontein High. And yeah, it's a lovely high school drama, you know, and it also just gives us a really good perspective of what the youth of today are going through with their different personal struggles, you know, and still having to navigate being a teen. The last season was very explosive, pun intended, because I really don't want to give away too many spoilers for people who do try and start the series. Like I said, season 1 and season 2 is on Showmax. The full series is there, and season 3 will drop on Friday. 3 episodes for you, all that you need.
How exciting. And what about Matchroom, The Greatest Showman?
Okay, so Matchroom, The Greatest Showman is actually a documentary. It's a documentary series that's dropping on Netflix. It's actually about a son and a father who have one of the world's biggest promotional companies. The company is worth $1 billion, actually. Like in the UK, it's one of the biggest, but it's also the biggest in the world as well. And they do all kinds of different sports, from poker, from snooker to boxing, all types of sports. And so it's the son and the father who are basically having a power struggle of who is going to take care of the next generation of the actual company. The father doesn't want to let go of what he's built from the ground up. He's a self-made billionaire. And the son is like, well, you know, I'm the new generation. I have new ideas. I can do this. Give me a chance. So there's that little tug of war between the son and the father, trying to see how they're going to get that done, and also just trying to explore the dynamics of a very exciting line of business. You know, promotional business in sports is very exciting. There's always so many things, there's so many elements that happen in it. So I think definitely for those who want to get into that and just want to watch a really good sports documentary, that's something that you should get into. And it's on Netflix. It's dropping this week, actually, if it hasn't dropped already, if I'm not wrong. But I think it's dropping on the 17th of September.
Okay, just like the Murdochs, right? And briefly, if you will, what about Rebel Royals?
Rebel Royals is such a weird show, I must preface. There's a lot of weird documentaries that Netflix is getting into, but I kind of like it because it's things that you would never really know about. So the Rebel Royals, An Unlikely Love Story, is a Netflix documentary that's basically following a shaman from Hollywood and his relationship with a princess from Norway. And so they're actually in love and they're about to get married as well. So they're preparing for their wedding. And obviously, there's a lot of people that are not sure about what is happening with this entire relationship. So
Imagine.
it's definitely something to look forward to. It's dropping on Netflix on the 16th of September.
Adelaide Moeng, thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
Motorists have started using Lilian Ngoyi Street after it was officially opened this morning following a 2-year closure. Formerly known as Bree Street, the busy roadway was destroyed in July 2023 after a massive underground explosion.
This disruption had a direct impact on businesses along the street, with some even forced to close their doors.
So I'm very much happy, and I hope our business will be good. We have been suffering a lot last 2 years.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
This isn't an event, it's a statement. When you choose Thirst Mobile Bar Services, you choose confidence without spectacle. These discreet mobile bars come with expert mixologists and service that speaks louder than words. Every detail refined, every pour intentional, every guest remembered. Thirst Mobile Bar Services, the perfect ingredient, the perfect outcome. For those who expect more and settle for nothing less. Secure your year-end date now at thirst.co.za.
Soccer and speed meet this season with Hollywood Bets and Aziz Shege. Be in the game. The thrilling competition sees 4 million rand in cash and prizes up for grabs. The first of 4 brand new vehicles is a top-of-the-range Toyota Rumian. Simply bet 10 rand or more on any soccer fixture or fixtures online or at your nearest branch to qualify. Feel the fever and bet now on the action.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Every day I'm hustling. It's our reality as business owners. And it's good to know that there's someone out there who takes care of the business that makes the business. Gotta love My Way Business Insurance. Saving big on premiums with 24/7 emergency services, plus My Business Assist with marketing, legal, and labor advice services.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
702.
Travel.
This travel feature is brought to you by Flight Centre, your centre for travel. A very good afternoon to you, Gabby Brundani, writer and travel correspondent.
Good afternoon.
So, December around the corner. I mean, I can't even believe I'm saying those words. Horrific, right? I mean, as we know, it means lazy days of sunshine around the braais and the beach, around the pool. But what about a complete change of scenery this year? Could be the year that you swap the heat for snow-dusted wonderland of a European winter. And this is where Christmas comes in and all these wonderful markets out there. Tell us about what's happening in Vienna.
So Vienna, it's one of those destinations. You've got imperial elegance meets festive charm, particularly over the festive season. So Vienna's imperial grandeur, it really makes for an iconic festive setting around Christmas time. If you know anything about the Schönbrunn Palace, it is majestic, it is grand. It's where Baroque architecture meets your wooden market stalls at Christmas time, which are adorned with fairy lights. It's one of the most magical things you can see set against the palace, which is on its own is just incredible. In the market, you'll be able to enjoy stalls of your local artisans who are all displaying their hand-carved wooden ornaments and other traditional Austrian crafts. If you're traveling as a family, kids will also be entertained by nostalgic old-school carousels. We've seen them in the movies. They're just something magical over Christmas time, while you enjoy shredded pancakes dusted with powdered sugar. It's just a whole experience enjoying Christmas in Vienna.
And, I mean, the reason it's important to talk about this now is that we got to get booking, right? I mean, I should imagine that it is one of the most popular busy times of the year, especially over there. And they really know how to do Christmas in Europe, don't they? I mean, they really pimp it out.
Oh, big time, big time. And I think if anyone is still interested to book for Christmas time, now being September, just a handy reminder, because I think sometimes we forget, don't forget to check if any of your medical aid rewards programs or any other kind of rewards programs you have offered discounts on flights or accommodation and travel and that kind of thing. Because that kind of saving over the festive season definitely goes a long way. So a reminder.
Gosh, you wonder if anyone offers it at that time, but maybe you can tell us who does. And tell us about Prague. I mean, that's a real medieval Christmas fantasy.
Oh, Prague is probably one of the most beautiful, beautiful places you could ever see in real life over Christmas time. So if you ever head to or plan to head to Prague's Old Town Square Christmas market, it's dominated by the magnificent astronomical clock and a church, and it's surrounded by cobblestone streets and Gothic spires. It really does make for one of Europe's, it is one of the most photographed Christmas scenes you're likely to see. Also, festive Christmas markets, all the traditional types of gastronomy and food you will enjoy in Prague. You've got, which is, if you are unsure where to start from a trip planning perspective, you can do pre-organized tours, which is very handy. So I know your Inside Vacations, they've got a Christmas markets tour which covers Poland, Prague, and Germany, where it's really handy in that you have an expert guide to guide you around all the markets for a truly authentic visit, which is a bonus if you are looking to do a pre-planned tour with a lot of free time in between.
And I should imagine this one in Prague, for example, that you get to try the local mulled wine and you get to try the local foods, and you could probably buy a range of things from, from expensive to pretty affordable.
Absolutely. And the pastries in Prague you definitely have to try.
Oh, like what?
Prague is also, it's a Hungarian dish. They're called chimney cakes. They're almost like spiral donuts almost. And sometimes they're filled with Nutella, sometimes they're filled with cream. So that's,
I'm salivating.
Your mouth will water, exactly.
and what about Munich?
So in Munich, with the Bavarian tradition at its finest. So Munich hosts some of the oldest and most authentic Christmas markets in the world. There's, of course, the Marienplatz Christmas Market, which is situated beneath the iconic Glockenspiel. It really creates a quintessentially German atmosphere with your intricate cuckoo clocks. You've got your hand-knitted woolens and traditional Bavarian Christmas ornaments that really showcase centuries of artistic heritage. Again, with all the Christmas markets, you can enjoy the local eats and drinks from that particular destination. Of course, your bratwurst in Germany, wine, yes.
and then obviously, I mean, the wonderful thing about going to those markets, you've got all the surrounds, and I should imagine that when you're at the markets, you can find out about what else is happening in the area or get tips to, go off somewhere else for the day.
Absolutely.
And let's pop over to Budapest, where the Danube romance meets festive warmth.
Yes. Now, while Christmas markets in Western Europe are polished, but often very touristy heavy, those in Eastern Europe are so charming. They're usually quite a bit smaller, a lot more rustic, a bit more affordable. And one of those examples is the Vörösmarty Square Christmas market in Budapest. Now, this one extends along the Danube River, which is one of the most picturesque areas in the world you're ever likely to see. This market, it features your Hungarian craftsmanship at its finest, hand-embroidered textiles, delicate porcelains. As we've mentioned with Prague, you've got your traditional chimney cake, which is, you have to try that. Another traditional chimney cake, yes, the spiral donut-y thing. Yes. Another traditional eats you have to try in Hungary is your langos, which is a deep-fried flatbread topped with sour cream and cheese. Also a really great treat to enjoy over Christmas and any other time, actually, in Budapest.
Oh, this is a difficult conversation. I'm trying to rein myself in and stay away from all of those kind of delicious things. It makes you just want to run out and get it. And which one is your favorite? And what is, for example, London? What would they be doing at this time?
London is also one of the most magical places over Christmas time. You've got your Parnaby area, which is decked out with all of the lights, all the Christmas festive cheer. You've got Oxford Street, which is so famous with all the beautiful lights, something so magical. Winter Wonderland is a huge festival with, you've got your merry-go-round, you've got your Ferris wheels, you've got all the fun kind of things that you would expect from a Christmas festival in London. So London also a really, really great destination. Of course, we love London with the direct connectivity with the likes of your Virgin Atlantic from Joburg and Cape Town. So yeah, London also a beautiful spot. Another really magical place over Christmas, a little bit further to get to, of course, bearing in mind visas, is New York over Christmas, but very, very, very cold, but so, so beautiful, so magical.
So what are the tips now? I mean, you said a little bit earlier you could get your sort of Vitality or could get your discounted flights. I mean, what are we looking at? And obviously it's different if you're flying direct, if you've got to stop. What should you be preparing for?
Perfect. So one handy thing to notice is that most of the time for most destinations, prices tend to peak from the 15th of December onwards.
Right.
So if you are able to travel before then, even if it is in November, you are likely to get much better rates from an airline perspective and a hotel perspective. What's also really handy to note is that a lot of the Christmas markets, particularly in Europe, already start opening up from November. The dates in November differ, so just check the dates. Some of them open from early November, some of them only later in November. So just check the dates for the specific destinations that you are planning to travel to. So yeah, if you can travel sort of around November time, heading into the first week or so in December, you are likely to get better rates.
And is there still the same kind of vibe at that time?
Oh, yes. And I think it might almost be better traveling during that time because the crowds, while it will still be busy and there will still be that amazing festive cheer, that buzz, it's less likely to be as crowded as it would be over Christmas onwards.
And I should imagine, I mean, I know this is a real South African comment, so forgive me, that when you go to these things, you've got to be careful with your bag, right? I mean, you get so swept away with all the wonderful vibe and everyone's looking happy. But you know that markets particularly, there are those who want to release you of your goods.
Absolutely. And just on that point, another thing to also just bear in mind from a Christmas market's perspective, where we are enjoying summer in all its glory in South Africa, if you are heading off to Europe or the Northern Hemisphere to enjoy Christmas, it is going to be pretty chilly. So jackets, warm clothes, proper warm clothes, but as long as you're prepared, it's really bearable. And it's so magical, so beautiful, you almost don't even notice the cold.
Are we missing a trick here in South Africa? I mean, do we have Christmas markets? I just realized I asked that out of a position of naivety. Do we? Should we?
I think a lot of the malls and different, I want to say like the farmers markets and those kind of things, they do tend to put a little bit of a Christmassy flair. Nothing to the extent of Europe, though. It's a whole different vibe. But I think Christmas in South Africa, it's still so beautiful, so much fun, but so different to the winter wonderland Christmas I think a lot of us are used to seeing in the movies that have painted that picture of a cold white snowy
it's
Christmas.
definitely the place to be, isn't it? I mean, when I was talking to you about Budapest, I think I spoke to you, I don't know, some months back, and you were talking about river trips through past places like Budapest. And in fact, my mum's on that at the moment. And she's she left from Budapest, and she said it's lovely and they're big rivers, and gosh, Eastern Europe can be quite it's a different vibe, isn't it?
Very much so. And I think on the point of river cruises, if that is something anyone is interested to travel and to enjoy Christmas markets, I know Uniworld Riverboat Cruises do stunning Christmas market river cruises. So where you basically are on these river boats and it stops and hops off at different destinations, also in the different parts of Europe where you can hop on and off the river boats and enjoy the different Christmas markets, which is something so beautiful to experience.
Okay, one word of advice or lots of advice that you feel that you need to give us before you leave?
Book as early as possible because it can get expensive.
Yes, and thank you very much. Thanks, Gabi Bondani, writer and travel correspondent. Ahoy, travellers. The Flight Centre cruise sale is on from the 1st to the 30th of September. Whether it's the sun-soaked Caribbean, historic Europe, exotic Asia, or the Mediterranean dream, They've got the perfect cruise deal waiting for you. Don't miss out. Sell further for less with Flight Centre. Visit flightcentre.co.za or your nearest Flight Centre store. Flight Centre, your centre for travel. It is 2 o'clock. Time for the news.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Maki Malapo. The bail amendment matter involving crime intelligence boss Dumsane Khumalo has stalled in the Pretoria Magistrates Court due to flooding in some courtrooms. The court was set to hand down judgment on an application brought by Khumalo and 3 co-accused. Khumalo and 6 others are facing fraud and corruption charges over the appointment of 30-year-old Dineo Mokwele to an executive position within crime intelligence. The prosecutors allege that she has no policing capabilities, knowledge or skills, but they've since been cleared of any wrongdoing in an internal SAPS process. Khomotso Modise reports.
Despite Dumsane Khumalo and his co-accused being cleared of wrongdoing in an internal SAPS process, the investigating directorate is still pursuing them for fraud and corruption. One of their bail conditions in June was that they are prohibited from entering the premises of the Crime Intelligence Unit. Now that they've been cleared by SAPS, their employer, they've brought an application to court to challenge this condition. But the directorate's Henry Mamotame says the matter cannot be heard today in court.
Unfortunately, we couldn't sit today. When we got here, we were told that most of the courtrooms flooded over the weekend, and our matter had to be postponed. Therefore, we will possibly come back on Friday should the cleanup be completed on Wednesday.
Earlier this month, the matter had to be heard in the Commercial Crimes Court as there were no courtrooms available in the Magistrates Court. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News in Pretoria.
The Umkhonto weSizwe Party says it's reckless for the Madlanga Commission into alleged police corruption to commence this week, while its case against its establishment is still pending. The commission is due to start its public hearings on Wednesday, while the MK Party and its president Jacob Zuma are set to argue their case before the Gauteng High Court in Pretoria on Thursday. The party claims this is not a scheduling coincidence, but rather a calculated maneuver to preempt and undermine the court challenge. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
The MK Party launched its High Court case over the appointment of Acting Police Minister Feroz Kochalia and the subsequent establishment of the police inquiry after the Constitutional Court dismissed an application for direct access in July. The High Court matter was originally expected to be heard on an urgent basis 2 weeks ago, but has now been set down for Thursday. MK Party spokesperson Shlamulon Ndlela.
You can tell that this is a very underhanded and well orchestrated decision that was taken. This rushed and irregular midweek commencement is no innocent scheduling coincidence.
The party insists it was unlawful and irrational for President Cyril Ramaphosa to appoint a sitting judge to head the inquiry when the allegations also implicate the judiciary. Judge Mbuseli Madlanga has since retired from the Constitutional Court. The MK Party, however, wants Judge Madlanga to postpone the start of the hearings until the court has pronounced on the legality of the inquiry. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
We move to this Eyewitness News exclusive. Northwest businessman Brown Mokhotsi, accused of meddling in police affairs, has a dark criminal past with several run-ins with the law dating back to as early as 1997. Eyewitness News has reliably learned that Mokhotsi has multiple files against his name, including for assault, theft, fraud and defeating the ends of justice. Earlier this year, Mokhotsi was identified by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi as a key figure in alleged interference in high-profile investigations, with claims that he also has close ties to Police Minister Senzo Mchunu. Oren Singh has more.
All of the cases against Brown Mokhotsi are confined to the Northwest province. Northwest Police declined to comment on the specifics of each case against Mokhotsi, claiming he was going to testify at the Madlanga Judicial Commission of Inquiry. Hence, they did not want to get involved. However, reliable police sources confirmed his criminal history to EWN. Mokhotsi did not answer detailed questions EWN put to him about his criminal history. During his explosive briefing in July, KZN Police Commissioner Commissioner, Nhlanhla Mkonazi, claimed to have evidence of messages between Mokhotsi and tenderpreneur and underworld figure Vusimusi Kat Matlala. The messages presented by Mkonazi alluded to collusion between the pair, whereby Mokhotsi was attempting to derail investigations by members of the political killings task team into Matlala. Arun Singh, Eyewitness News.
Residents in Westbury and surrounding areas have refuted Joburg Mayor Dada Morero's claims that interventions to restore water are on track, saying their taps are still partially dry. The areas have been dealing with water cuts for months now due to a problematic water system leading to protests last week. This prompted a response by Joburg officials who cut off water supply in other areas to increase supply in the reservoirs of the affected areas. During a briefing at the Alexandra Park Reservoir in Kensington earlier today, Morero assured residents that a solution is underway.
The other areas that were at last week, they are now getting water because of the interventions that we are doing. We're doing the very same interventions in this area.
However, Westbury resident Bianca Oliver says while 15 water tankers have been placed in the area, this is not enough for everyone. She adds that the mayor's briefing today does not reflect their lived reality.
That is lies. The water came on and then the water goes off and now again it's off again. So the mayor's just talking is nonsense.
And in Turkey, an Ankara court has adjourned a key hearing into alleged vote buying that could topple the leadership of Turkey's main opposition party. The case seeks to overturn the result of a CHP Congress in November 2023 on grounds of vote rigging. Critics say the case is a politically motivated attempt to undermine the country's oldest party, which won a huge victory over the AKP in the elections. The case has been adjourned until October 24th. Gold's trading at $3,642.63 an ounce. The rand's at 17.32 to the dollar, at 23.59 to the pound, at 20.38 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $67.04 a barrel.
We still have that accident scene in the Calvin area. This is on the M1 southbound near Marlborough Drive, causing heavy delays all the way from the Patlu interchange. Traffic lights still not working in Rand Park Ridge at Bayers Nordia and the N1, as well as in Midrand at Olifantsfontein Road and the N1.
A look at your weather. Clear skies in Gauteng this afternoon. Temperatures are peaking at highs between 25 and 28 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour. The bail amendment matter involving crime intelligence boss Dumsani Khumalo has stalled in the Pretoria Magistrates Court due to flooding in some courtrooms.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Live
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Gosh, you couldn't make that up, could you? Flooding in a courtroom and then Dada Morero promising residents who haven't had water for months that that's all going to be sorted. The dramatic contrast there. Hello, I'm Jane Dutton. I'm in for Relebogile Mabotja. It's good to be with you today. In the last hour, I was asking you about what you would do to change your performance. Have you your appearance? Have you changed it? Has anybody asked you to change it? And I've got quite a few messages that I want to quickly go through. Lindy said I went for breast reduction consultation with a top surgeon, but because of my autoimmune disease, he refused to do it. Thank goodness. Another one, hey, funny but serious topic. I would want a breast reduction, tummy tuck. I think a lot of women would. And another one saying I had fillers put in my mouth cheeks in my 40s. Now I'm in my 70s. It's causing bad bumps growing out of her face like pimples. Tandeni says, I love myself the way I am. Good for you. Uyaseni says, yes, my teeth. Other than that, I'm just happy with my body. Mapuche says, my teeth are also broken. And Patience wants a breast reduction. Thank you very much for your comments. I'm sure most people are just perfect just the way they are, but we get corrupted by TikTok and all of that stuff out there and all of those perfect people that we see. So we are going to be talking about, in the parenting and parent section, wordless books that support early literacy, the picture-driven stories that spark imagination and encourage storytelling. This is an important thing. If you've had an experience using this on your kids or anywhere else, please, I would love to hear from you. And then, of course, we've got the Naked Scientist. We've already got some questions that we're going to deliver to him. If you want to ask him anything, and you know he knows everything about everything, then you can call us, or you can call him on 011 883 0702. You can tweet us at Radio 702. You can WhatsApp me on 072 702 1702. So I want to hear from you regarding these books, Early Learning and The Naked Scientist.
Parenting and Parents
on 702.
So, a South African non-profit dedicated to supporting parents and young children through book sharing and early learning. This is what we're talking about. On Wednesday, the 10th of September, they launched their new campaign, Books That Build Little Voices, which highlights how wordless picture books are helping young children across South Africa build language, confidence, and strong foundations for future literacy. Joining us is Katima Ibrahim, CEO of the Mkhulu Child Development Trust. A very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Jane. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being with us. What inspired the Books That Build Little Voices campaign?
The Books That Build Little Voices campaign is really about spotlighting the role that wordless picture books play in supporting positive parent-child relationships, and through those relationships, how we can build children's early foundational skills that are so necessary and important for when they start learning to read.
Okay, break it down to the basics. How do wordless picture books differ from traditional storybooks in helping toddlers learn?
Sure. So very practically, they are wordless. They focus on telling a very strong narrative through just the pictures. And the way that it helps and supports very young children, and this, we talk about children from ages 1 to 2 years, that's really at the age where children's language development in terms of their brain development peaks. So between the ages of 1 to 2, children's language development peaks, and having a strong foundational language base is one of the key levers for children learning to be able to read later on. And how wordless books supports that language development is that through wordless books, we do this activity called book sharing, which is about really just having an interactive conversation about what you see in the books. And so it differs from traditional book reading in that book reading tends to be a very wonderful but relatively passive activity where children are engrossed in, hearing stories being read to them.
Oh, right, so they don't
book
get
sharing,
too involved.
They don't get too involved. What book sharing does is that it forces us to have an interaction. And it's that interactive nature that really sparks the brain development at that age. When you listen passively, there's a different part of the brain that develops well, but for this particular skill, learning and building language, we need that interactiveness. And wordless books support that interaction between the parent and the caregiver.
So tell us more about what actually happens to the child's brain when they're telling their own story from pictures.
Yeah, and and we're talking about children who really, even if they can't speak yet, what's important is that they're given an opportunity to interact and engage. And so when a parent points to something in a book and they say, "Can you tell me what this is?" and you pause and you give a child a chance to think or to say a word that we don't understand.
Yeah.
That lights up that's the part of the brain that is responsible for language development. And so they will tell you a whole story babbling along, and you as a parent listening and responding and saying, yeah, I think so. Or what more do you want to say about this? Or do you think this? Encouraging and supporting and having that interaction is what supports children's very early brain development for language during that 1 to 2 year age gap.
And do kids invent different stories every time they look at the same book?
Yes, definitely. Some days an object would be an orange, the other days it would be a ball.
Yeah.
And even when children are older and they have they're able to speak and tell fuller stories, it will change. It will change depending on their mood, And depending on the book that they really, if they really love a book, they might stick to the same story. But depending on the mood, it might change. So it's not even so much about the story that they tell, but it's that opportunity for them to engage in the storytelling process.
And I'm just wondering if any of our listeners read to their children, look at picture books together, and I'd be intrigued to hear how your kids respond. We're going to talk about this more. I want to find out more about the role that parents can play in doing this, but let's just take the short break.
Spar brings you super savings. Get 750 gram, 780 gram, 850 gram Nola mayonnaise, excluding squeeze bottle, for $38.99. Save R6 with Spar rewards, or 2-liter Spar full cream or low-fat ultra-pasteurized milk for $32.99 with Spar rewards. Plus, you could win your share of R6 million in instant cash. Price is valid until 22 September 2025. While stocks last. T's and C's apply.
Spend hours comparing almond milk and once made a spreadsheet just for sneakers. But when she found Santam, SA's leading short-term insurer that offers a range of cover options, from vehicle to building and home contents, even she didn't overthink it. The kind of freedom Santam gives you takes some getting used to. Speak to your broker. Santam, this is freedom. Santam is an authorized FSP, a licensed non-life insurer and controlling company for its group companies.
Did you know that every time you swipe your benefit card, you're contributing towards the Dis-Chem Foundation? Each time you swipe, not only are you rewarded, but a percentage of your purchase is donated to the Dis-Chem Foundation to support communities in need. All the more reason to sign up for your Dis-Chem or Dis-Chem Baby City benefit card today. Support with every swipe. The Dis-Chem Foundation, caring for the community.
This is your business. Hooray! This is your business supercharged with the help of Zero accounting software. Hooray! This is your business supercharged with the help of Zero, finding you have more time to focus on things you love and not endless admin. Supercharge your business today.
Search Zero with an X. From the bottles on your table to the glass that's recycled and reborn, Isanti Glass is proving that sustainability can shine. This Thursday, 702 Drive with John Perlman will be in conversation with Isanti Glass as we unpack how they are redefining glass manufacturing and making a real impact in communities. We'll also explore how Isanti Glass champions innovation, empowers local industries and supports a circular economy through recycling and sustainable practices. Don't miss 702 Drive with John Perlman this Thursday in conversation with Isanti Glass from 3 to 6 p.m. on 702.
Parenting and Parents
on 702.
We're talking about a campaign, Books That Build Little Voices. And it's all about wordless picture books and the incredible impact it's having on children and parents. Audrey says to us, "Hi, I did my postgraduate studies on wordless books. Amazing, not only for children, but for building positive parenting skills in low literacy areas." And my guest is Katima Ibrahim, CEO of the Mukulu Child Development Trust. Tell us more about the sort of impact that it has, if you can respond to what Audrey was saying about positive parenting skills in low literacy areas.
Yes, so the book sharing, the activity of book sharing, talking to your child over using a wordless book, that's a core part of the work that we do, providing training and support to parents in small groups. There's been lots of work been trying to really support parents to read to their children by improving access to books and training and so on. But we have to understand that there's such a huge barrier when it comes to literacy of parents. And what the book sharing activity really just breaks down all of those barriers because there are no words, and even books that have very few words, many parents find very intimidating. So the fact that the books have no words in them really supports and empowers parents who feel that they may not be good enough to provide any sort of education for their young children.
And it's something
parents
they can
really
do together, which is obviously bonding and powerful.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, parents are really where children bond and have their first learning experiences. And parents need to feel that they have that role to play, because they do, even if they're not educated, even if they can't read.
And
And
what
of
are you
course,
seeing
it
as far
also
as long-term impact is having when early book sharing, what it has on school readiness and confidence?
So the research into the book sharing program shows that it really accelerates children's language development, as you shared, but also then supports children with their early socio-emotional skills that children need when they start going into a classroom and where learning becomes social with lots of other children, especially in the South African context, and with teachers who can't necessarily have the luxury of paying lots of attention to every single child. So they have that additional support in terms of their own socio-emotional skills when they get to the point of needing to learn to read in a classroom setting.
And how are you making these resources accessible to under-resourced communities across the country?
So for the most part, we print and distribute these books through our programs. We also have a very strong partnership with the Western Cape Department of Health, where we're providing through community health workers training for all the mothers in the first 1,000 days. So that's mothers with children under age 2. They provide training to those mothers in their homes, and the department then just print and distributes books to families through that program as well. And I wanted to make just one more point about these specific books. So when we started many years ago, we wanted to use books that were available, and we just couldn't find books that sort of met what we were looking for. And what we've recently found is that what we're looking for and what we've designed in the books that we develop and distribute is that very young children need books about everyday scenarios, books about astronauts and fairies and, fantasy is really wonderful for older children when they start using deep imagination. But for very young children at this 1 to 2 age, they need images of relatable scenarios, forks and spoons and plates that they can talk about, or going to do the shopping.
Yeah.
And that's really where our books, what's special and what this specific campaign is about, is promoting the use of books that show your everyday life so that children can learn the language that's relatable to them. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, that is fascinating. So just keep it down to the basics, what they can relate to and see every day. I mean, is there a certain amount of time that kids and parents should devote to doing this?
So when we start with parents, we tell them start with just a few minutes a day, because especially when children are very young, we don't want to overwhelm parents. It's very hard to even find just a couple of minutes in a very busy, long day. So just a couple of minutes, but you're exactly right. If you can do just a few minutes every day, that's what we've seen makes a difference.
And what about bonding? If, say, for example, the parent isn't fluent in the child's first language.
If the parent isn't fluent in the child's first language, so again, that's what the beauty is with the wordless books, is that it can be done in any language. So if there is a language that the parent is comfortable in, that the child will also learn, you can switch between the two. So if you switching between languages, they will learn the same words for those objects or activities and so on. So it can be done in whichever language.
Bilingual or multilingual families, it's not a problem. Everyone can relate.
Definitely.
To something.
It even supports that, because then we can start using several words for the same thing. This is called a fork in English, and this is what it's called. It's for sausages you learn, so on. Yeah.
And tell us about, what you've seen, and are there challenges? Like, do kids make up silly stories instead of following the pictures, or is that just part of the fun?
It's part of the fun, but it's also it's very interesting when children start talking about the things that they see, what we provide training on is really to tune into what it is that they're saying. So if a child points to something that looks like a ball and they say it's a ball, but actually it's an orange or a tomato, we kind of encourage you to say, well, it's okay that they're saying that it's a ball. Definitely don't, we're not admonishing children, at 2 years old for saying that it's a ball, but we can say, oh, it looks like a ball, but actually this is an orange. And so they will make things up, and it's about responding in a way that's appropriate for the situation. But what we've also seen is for older children is that they really start seeing themselves in the books, and they will start telling you a story that's relevant to their life. And that can be very fun and cute, but at the same time, sometimes children share quite tough things that might have happened to them and so on. They see those situations in the books, and they start telling their story through the books. We haven't
So
had a lot of experience
for that.
It is. It's an opportunity to pick up. This might be a child who's had a particular challenging situation at home or whatever it is. We haven't had lots of experience with that, in terms of training around that. But that sort of we then funnel that support into our social workers, so that social workers can perhaps support that parent, support that family, to figure out, what is it that this child was really meaning when they said this thing.
And what about if a kid has got a speech delay, for example, or you've touched on learning difficulties. Can these books help too?
We have had some very little anecdotal evidence when some parents with children with learning difficulties, delays, have joined, and they've said, they've responded very positively to this. We haven't done lots of research around it, but we've also had some work with the up the West Coast with the Department of Health, where the unit that supports stroke victims have inquired about using this also as a tool to support stroke victims to start relearning language. So there's some thoughts around this, but we haven't really investigated in a lot of detail yet.
Okay, so if a parent is able to get their hands on a book like this, and they want to know how to best explore the pages to stimulate the child, and they don't think that they're a good storyteller, what tips would you have for them?
So our tips is really just that this we have three main important things. Number one is all about the child. Let them do the leading. You put a book in front of them and they grab it with enthusiasm. Just let them go with it. Your role is really to facilitate, listen, and respond positively. So our 3 points are: allow the child to lead, respond positively, and ask questions. Be interested and inquiring about what the child is pointing at or saying.
And tell us a little bit about the Makulu Child Development Trust, what it stands for, what work you do other than this, and what your needs are.
Makulu Trust, we're focused on young children. We want wonderful outcomes for young children, but our active intervention is really with the parent, because when children are in good relationships with their primary caregiver, whoever that may be, their development thrives. And so our work is to support parents. One of the things we do is through book sharing, but we also aim to provide a more holistic basket of services of support for those parents. And we, and some of our needs is really around. We've started this campaign because we're wanting to essentially sell more books. Most of our books currently goes into our programs. Our programs, we print them and we donate them. There's obviously a different target audience that we're not reaching. So if there are families out there who have young children, buy a set of our books. You'll be not only benefiting from them in your family, but that would enable us to donate more books to other families in our programs. And that's really our call today.
And I should imagine for you it must be so satisfying seeing a child develop and develop these skills and the sort of relationships between child and parent and schools and breaking down so many barriers. If somebody wants to contribute, if somebody wants to get hold of these books, if somebody wants to find out more, how can they get in touch with you, or who should they get in touch with?
Wonderful. Yes, they can get in touch with me. My name is Kadima Ibrahim. My details are on our website. There's info@mikulutrust.org. You could also order books through our website, and you could also make donations through the website. We're on Facebook and LinkedIn with the campaign. Message us there as well. And we'd be happy to help get the books into your home.
What an impressive project. Thank you very much, Kadima Ibrahim, CEO of the Mukulu Child Development Trust. It is 2:30, time for the news headlines.
Thanks, Jane. Good afternoon. The National Student Financial Aid Scheme will be reprioritizing the 13 billion rand that's currently in its coffers to support students with blocked registrations. Higher Education Minister Butimana Mela made the announcement in Pretoria today, where he provided an update on the state of readiness for the 2026 academic year as well as NSFAS applications. Acting Police Minister has clarified to Parliament that the head of President Cyril Ramaphosa's Protection Unit, Major General Wally Rhoda, is off the hook on the public protector's findings that he breached the SAPS disciplinary code by investigating the Parapara matter. Minister Ferris Kuchalia says a police hearing found Rhoda not guilty of allegedly conducting an illegal cross-border probe into the 2020 robbery on the president's Limpopo farm. He was responding to a written question from the African Transformation Movement, which was one of the complainants to the public protector in respect of the police's handling of the burglary in which more than $500,000 was stolen. And Lesotho is sending a high-level delegation to the White House in efforts to try renegotiate for lower trade duties. In August, US introduced a 15% levy for the mountainous kingdom, much lower than the initial 50% that Donald Trump threatened in April. Despite the tariff reduction, exporters in the country have taken a dent to their businesses. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at 3 o'clock or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, some good news if you're heading towards Sandton. That accident seen in the Calvin area on the M1 southbound near Marlborough Drive has been cleared and traffic is now free flowing. The rest of Gauteng also looking pretty good. No major delays or accident scenes have been reported. However, traffic is a bit sluggish if you're heading towards Germiston. This is in the Bedfordview area on the MN3 southbound between the Giluli's interchange and the Ilans interchange. Also look out for those faulty traffic lights in the Bryanston area, Winnie Mandela Drive and Sloan. Traffic lights still not working in Rand Park Ridge at Bayers Nodia and the N1. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
702 delivers
on the matters that matter to you.
This is Leanne from Pretoria. 702 is my companion on my drive to work and home from work every day. They keep me up to date with loads of important information on the news of the world, but also lots of other interesting facts. And I always arrive at work and saying, guess what I heard on the radio today? So I think my staff know me as, guess what I heard on the radio today, whenever I arrive at work, thanks to 702.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts,
so we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 listens.
Let's walk the talk.
That's the sound of your business growing. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, turn your passion into profit with Capitec Business Banking. Save up to 50% on fees. Get fast credit approvals, personalized support, and Forex for your business. Open your business banking account on our app. Bank on better with Capitec, the business bank for everyone. Capitec is an authorized FSP. 46669. T's and C's apply.
One festival, endless flavor, and 2 unforgettable days of timeless music. The DSTV Delicious International Food and Music Festival, powered by Lotto Star, returns on 20 and 21 September at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. On Saturday, the stage erupts with Don Tolliver, Questa, and Nkabi Zezwe. Then on Sunday, experience the legendary Lauryn Hill, Wycliffe Jean, Lyra, and more. The DSTV Delicious Festival powered by Lotto Star. Tickets at Ticketmaster.
Here at Betway, we're finding every way possible to make sure you can win your next sports bet. With our new Bet Saver feature, you could get your stake back or more on bets with multiple losses. Stand to win, even when your bet misses. Bet Saver, exclusive to Betway. Terms and conditions apply. Betway is licensed and regulated by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. No persons under the age of 18 are permitted to gamble. South African Responsible Gambling Program toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Winners know when to stop.
Coming up on 702 Drive with John Perlman.
Good afternoon, John. What have you got for us today?
Very good afternoon to you, Jane. Good afternoon to all of our listeners. So we've got Oren Singh, who's looking ahead to the start of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. He's been doing some very interesting digging and coming up with some interesting stuff. ANC gathering out at the FNB Stadium, not in the stadium, but in meeting rooms around there. All ANC councillors have been brought together to start preparing a strategy for the next local government elections. Too little, too late, now or never. I'm not sure whether any of these cliches apply, but we'll talk about it in more detail after 5 o'clock. We spoke earlier to Dr. Sean Phillips, DG of Water and Sanitation. At a national level, he's made some very important points about the fact that Joburg Water ought to be able to ring-fence its own revenue because they've had 4 billion rand, Jane, in money that was given to them for maintenance and infrastructure that the city of Joburg then took back. So you've got important infrastructure projects, be they maintenance or putting in new infrastructure that have been stopped because contractors haven't been paid. So we'll get his thoughts on that at 4:10. And then in Botswana, Letia Tebeko, who won the 200 meters at the Olympic Games in Paris last year, is now on a banknote. So we're going to ask...
It's quite an honour.
It is indeed. We're going to ask our listeners, who would you put on a banknote if we decided to honour some South Africans?
It's a great question. But I mean, the irony that is South Africa, right? We've got this water problem, and then we've got water flooding through the courts. So,
yes.
You know.
Yeah. Water everywhere except where it should be.
Except where it should be.
Oh, dear.
But Dada Moreira, as usual, saying everything's going to be fine. We'll get the water back up and running to you. Thank you very much for that, John.
702.
The Naked Scientist.
We are going to be talking to Dr. Chris Smith, consultant virologist and the University of Cambridge Public Understanding of Science Fellow. And a very good afternoon to you. No, we don't have him up yet. He is making his way to us, but we've already got lots of questions for him. And I want you to give us a call and ask whatever it is that you want. I mean, as you know by now, he is a man who can tell you about what's happening up there in the skies all the way down to your toes. And we've got quite a few questions that have already been sent to us. And a couple of questions are popping up now, which always happens with the Naked Scientist because he is very good at offering you solutions to your questions and answers to your multitude of questions. Chris Smith, can you hear me now? Hello?
I can hear you loud and clear. Hello.
Hello. Good to be chatting to you again.
Likewise.
All right, we've got lots of questions for you. Mohammed says, please ask the Prof. I have an understanding that diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure and cancer don't start because of viruses, but the condition within our system. Is there no way that scientists can study humans to avoid that? For humans to avoid that?
There's a range of reasons why diseases happen. And the one thing we have to try and suss out is always what the mechanism of a disease is. Because although we can diagnose someone and say, well, you've got disease X, unless we understand how you got disease X, we've no chance of preventing you getting it again or someone else getting it. So we always want to understand what is the process through which diseases arrive. That's the mechanism of disease. And that is the most important thing we can really do in medicine, because that's how we can improve. Because if you understand the mechanism of the disease, you can understand how to treat the disease, you can understand how to prevent the disease. Now, different diseases have different causes, of course, and in certain cases, viruses are at the origin of those diseases. Some viruses cause cancer. The human papillomavirus causes cervical cancer and some oral cancers. The hepatitis B virus, if you have it for a long time, can injure the liver and lead to liver cancer. Same for hepatitis C. So some viruses are causes of cancer. Other infections just cause damage to certain target organs, because different diseases manifest in different organs. Some things are just a natural process of aging and the interaction of our genes, what makes us work with the environment we live in. So different diseases have different mechanisms, and there's not just a one-size-fits-all. And we have to understand what the mechanism is in order to understand how best to diagnose it, manage it, treat it, and prevent it.
Tabisa says, how do roosters know when it's time to crow, especially early morning?
Yeah, well, pretty much everything that lives on Earth, and I'm including even bacteria in this, knows what time it is. Now, you might say that sounds nuts, but it is a fact that everything that we've studied has some way of recording time and knowing the time. And this really matters. So if I took a cell from your skin, it knows what time it is. There are genes running in your skin cells that have a chemical clock and a genetic clock that's ticking away, taking about 24 hours to complete one cycle. They're driven or controlled by a master clock in your brain, which is called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. And this master clock has effectively a genetic domino effect going on. A gene turns on, it turns on another gene, that turns on another gene, which feeds back and turns off the first gene. It takes about 24 hours to feed that cycle round. This changes the nerve activity. This in turn is signalled to other parts of the nervous system, but also all parts of the body through hormones. So a bird is no different, and they also have suprachiasmatic nuclei in their brain. They know what time it is, and this sends very powerful wake-up hormones from about 4 o'clock in the morning, same in us, which then surge around the bloodstream, waking up all your tissues and turning their body clocks and saying, this is wake-up time. And it also changes the behaviour in their brain, so they say, right, I'm waking up, must be time to start crowing. And that's what they
Just
do.
not with my kids.
And pretty much every animal on Earth knows what time it is.
Yeah. Andrew's on the line from Hammanskraal. He's got a question for you about donating blood. Go ahead, Andrew.
Hello, Jane. Dr. Chris. I normally donate blood. When I get told that the 1 unit of blood that I donate can save 3 lives, so I don't understand actually what do they mean by that. Can you explain that for me?
Oh, hi, Andrew. Well, there's a range of things you can do with a blood donation. There's whole blood. There's also packed red cells, and we can also get plasma out of blood, and we can even get platelets out of blood. Platelets are the tiny bits of cells that are absolutely crucial to help blood clot. So depending upon what sort of donation you give, then it can be handled in slightly different ways to turn into all those different products. Either whole blood you just put straight into somebody, into the platelets, into the plasma, very, very useful for various things like clotting chemicals, or if they just need lots of red blood cells quickly, then we can put those in as well. And different products can go to different people, which is probably how they're arriving at that number, where if you turn your blood sample into different things, they can then produce different things that will help different people. That's what they mean.
And that's why we should donate blood if we can. Polani from Randburg got a question about the phenomenon of yawning.
Yes. Hi, Jane. Hi, Doctor.
Hi, go ahead, Polani.
Hi.
My question is, what is yawning? The physical phenomenon. What is the sensation of yawning? What's happening to the body at that time? What actually is it?
Well, there's a study which was done about 20 years ago now, and they looked at when people tend to yawn. And we tend to yawn, obviously, when we're tired, but when we have a high brain load and our brain is getting fatigued and hot. Because when we're tired, brain temperature tends to rise. So the theory goes that if you are tired, you have a warmer brain. Therefore, if you want to become more alert, you cool the brain. How do you do that? If you bring in a large amount of cold air through your mouth and nose, because there are lots of blood vessels which are running over the base of the brain, which are quite close to the roof of your mouth and your nasal passages, the passage of cold air will cool that blood, and this will in turn eventually cool down the brain because it will be transferred through those tissue interfaces to the brain surface. That's the theory. Does it work? Well, there's a guy who was in New York called Gordon Gallup who actually did a study on this, on students in America. This is about 20 years ago. What they did was to invite students to come and watch some videos, they said. In these videos, there were pictures, among various things, of people yawning, and they were looking at the rate of sympathetic yawning. Now, their hypothesis was that if the brain is too warm and you cool it, there should be less sympathetic yawning. So what they did was to, in one experiment, just show people the videos and count how many times they yawned in sympathy with the people in the videos, which was quite a high fraction. Then they did it again, and they said to the people, hold this cold compress on your forehead while you watch some videos. And they then counted up how many times people yawned in sympathy with the videos. And with the cold compress in place, there was much less yawning in sympathy with the videos, which seems to agree with the hypothesis that a tired brain is a warmer brain, a cooler brain feels more alert, and therefore is less likely to induce yawning, either in sympathy or spontaneously.
So turn up the AC. All right, we've got some important messages, and then we're going to come back, and I'm going to take your calls. There are lots of them for the Naked Scientist, Chris Smith.
At the heart of global conversations shaping our future, Africa's voice is more important than ever. As proud lead sponsor of the B20, the Standard Bank Group is honored to showcase the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Because driving Africa's growth isn't just our ambition, it's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 In Brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
This September, Joburg Theatre brings you a powerful mix of drama, music, and dance. Dancing the Death Drill, adapted from Fred Khumalo's acclaimed novel, tells the tale of Pitso Mutaung, a South African soldier forever changed by the tragic sinking of the SS Mendi. The cast features Kwenzo Ngobo, Tuli Tabete, and Clint Brink, with choreography by Luyanda Sidia and original music by Msaki. This is a story of love, loss, and remembrance. Catch it from 9 to 28 September 2025 on the Mandela stage at Joburg Theatre. Dancing the Death Drill, a moment in history brought to life. Book now at joburgtheatre.com.
This master doesn't just start, it wakes up. Anticipation. The wheel settles into your hands. Seat and mirrors adjust. You didn't ask, it just knew. Then the 3.3-liter turbo diesel clears its throat. And suddenly, you're flying, weaving through sunlight. Goosebumps on your commute. The feeling will find you in the Mazda CX-60. Wonder awaits.
702.
The Naked Scientist.
I'm talking to the Naked Scientist now. Lots of you are holding on the line to speak to him, and lots of messages coming through. Let's pop over to you, Eddie, from the Northwest, and you've got a question about sexual intercourse when it comes to animals. Go ahead.
Yes, how are you?
Very good. Go ahead, Eddie.
Oh, yes, I wanted to know, in terms of animals as compared to human beings, do they enjoy making love, or is it a matter of reproduction?
Hi, Eddie. I don't think we know because we can't really ask them. But the fact that they do it, and they do it a lot, argues they probably do get some kind of enjoyment. Or in the same way that, why do I go and eat food? I eat food because I feel hungry. When I eat food and I've been feeling hungry, I feel better and I get a sense of satisfaction and enjoyment from eating. So probably it's because we know that in animals, the region of the brain that makes you feel full and happy when you eat food is the same region of the brain that makes you feel fulfilled when you have sex. It's the brain's pleasure center. This is wired up very similarly in animals and in human brains. So the likelihood is they probably do get pleasure and enjoy having sex. And that's why they do it. It's like Richard Feynman, the Nobel Prize winner. He said that science and sex are very similar. They both have practical results, but that's not why we do it. And I strongly suspect that this is what motivates animals as well. It's a pleasure seeking, which has a useful biological spin-off, which is reproduction.
That answered that for you, Eddie. There's a question from Pulse. Who actually built the pyramids in modern day Egypt? Was it black Africans, Europeans, or Arabs?
I really don't know. I think you need to ask an Egyptologist what our current theories are. Our best guess is that there's going to be a mixed bag of people. There's going to be a range of different people who would have been involved, and I think the genetic studies that are now being done suggest that probably there are a range of different peoples and disciplines that were involved in this. But I think really we need an Egyptologist to answer this question, because I'm not one of those and I don't feel qualified.
Sure. Elton from Parktown talking about the civilian scale. What's the question, Elton?
Hi, how are you, Jane?
Very good, thank you. Go ahead, Elton.
Quick question for the doctor. There's a Russian scientist who innovated the scale of civilization. I just wondered if we will reach any of his theories in civilization, or it's not ever possible.
Elton, say that again. Whether we will reach what? Sorry.
Nikolai's scale of civilizations.
Do you mean equality across the world? No, everyone's the same everywhere.
No. I'm talking about the scale of civilization according to Nikolai Kadavich, the Russian scientist.
Yeah, I don't really know what you mean by the scale of civilization. What did he envisage?
He envisaged that the scale of civilization, according to him, it was the power to enhance the power of the universe that we live in. One being the scale one being the power to enhance the power of the planet that we live in, and then scale two being the power to enhance the power of the sun that we live in, and then going up with the power of enhancing the power of the galaxy and the total universe itself.
I think I get where you're coming from. Yeah, I think I understand what you're getting at. Well, I suspect that. I mean, what do they say? That prediction is very difficult, especially when it concerns the future. That was Niels Bohr, who was the forefather of quantum mechanics, I think, who said that. But it's really hard to say. But if I showed someone 100 years ago what planet Earth looked like today, and the fact that here I am sitting in one side of the planet and I'm talking to you in the other side of the planet, and this is being beamed out to thousands of people, and they would think it was magic. They would think the electric light bulb in the ceiling was magic. They would think that the plane that's flying overhead, carrying hundreds of people and weighing hundreds of tons, was magic. They would be so in awe of that. So what's enabled us to do all these things? Well, we're harnessing energy. We're harnessing electrical energy. We're harnessing fuels and chemical energy. And we've sent people into space. We've got people above the planet in space right now. We've been to the moon. Never underestimate human endeavour, and I strongly suspect that as we evolve further, our demand for energy will become more and more prolific and prodigious, and our ability to harness energy will become better and better in order to meet that need. So I'd say watch this space.
Thank you.
Thanks, Elton. Let's go over to Michael from Johannesburg. Also talking about the warming of the brain and what it means for a tired brain. Go ahead, Michael.
My question, I want to go back to the brain. Is that higher temperature in correspondence to the body temperature, or is there a set temperature that it has to get to? And if you're in a cooler room or cooler environment, would that mean it would take you longer for your brain to be fatigued?
Well, in theory, yes. If you think about what do we do when we want to wake someone up, chuck in a bucket of cold water over them or make them cool off. If you've got a classroom full of stuffy air, everyone nods off because it's warm and cozy. It's like bed, isn't it? Whereas if you chill yourself down a bit, you do find that very arousing and enlivening. And people take a cold shower, jump in a cold swimming pool or whatever. They say, wow, that woke me up. Number of reasons why. One is it strongly activates your sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight reaction. So that partly accounts for it. But Also, it is that drop in body temperature which almost certainly is going to be detected by your brain and regarded as a threat, and it's therefore going to activate all kinds of defense mechanisms, which will include waking you up. Whereas when you do get too warm and cozy, it's bedtime. I think I'll nod off and have a snooze now. And so I think probably it's the inverse of that.
Okay. And there is also, it said that you should sleep in a cooler room for better sleep. So would that
Yeah,
not...
I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, so would that...
Well, what they're getting
not
at, I
mean...
think what they're getting at with that is if you're too hot, you don't tend to sleep so well, because when we go to sleep, our metabolism is dialed down. When we dial down our metabolism, our body temperature drops. So we tend to be cooler at night. If you are in too warm an environment, that dialing down of temperature to which we have become familiar and are most comfortable sleeping is harder to achieve, and therefore you'll have a less stressful night. And so that's the argument. If you sleep in a cooler environment, you're having to fight less to achieve a lower body temperature. It's more familiar to you, so you will be more relaxed. I much prefer a cooler bedtime. I'd much rather have nice layer of blankets on and the window open than a warm bedroom and a sheet. Everyone seems to say this. It's interesting. We do tend to sleep better with ventilation, fresh air, and a cooler temperature, as long as we can keep warm under the blankets, warmer, rather than hot room, just a single sheet. It's surprising, that really, isn't it?
Thank you for that, Michael. Another question for you from Kuseli. It says, good afternoon, Dr. Chris. What is the co-relationship between blood group types, what we should eat, and in determining our healthiness and wellness?
I've heard this, so I know that this has been claimed in the past, but I'm not a great expert, and I'm not sure how true it really is, whether you can eat for your blood group. I don't know if there really is good scientific evidence that's the case, so I'll have to say I'll pass on being able to answer that aspect of the question. But certainly blood groups do matter when it comes to certain infections and certain risks of disease. There is evidence that if you're blood group O, you're at lower risk of certain diseases. The best example in recent history is COVID. We found that people who are ending up in intensive care, since we know what proportion of the population are group O, A, B and AB, we should be able to therefore ask, if there's no difference from blood group, these people should all be detected with severe coronavirus infections at roughly the same proportion as they are in the population. We found that people with group O were underrepresented amongst those with more severe disease. There's also a claim that people who are group O are less susceptible to catching norovirus infections, the gut bug. Why? I don't think we know exactly. And it might be that rather than the blood group doing this, that there's what's called a linkage group effect going on, where the genes that give us our blood group are sitting right next door to other genes that have important roles in how the immune system works or how we respond to disease. And so the blood group is effectively a proxy marker for how your body deals with certain other threats and challenges, and therefore possibly different biochemical challenges, and therefore possibly different foods and micronutrient challenges. Who knows? But I'm happy to take a look at that one and come back next week with a bit more information.
Well, Chris, I think I can add to that. I mean, years ago, there was a book that was quite popular, Eat According to Your Blood Type, which I did. And I remember I lost a lot of weight, but that was also that age when you could lose weight. I'm not sure it'll help now, but it certainly had an impact. We've got another question here from, who's this from? No name there. Whenever I take coffee, I feel dizzy, weak, etc., until I take a nap before I feel better. What causes that?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds a bit counterintuitive, doesn't it? You drink coffee to wake up.
Yep.
Sometimes, though, you drink so much coffee that you then habituate to its effects. And I think I've been in that position in the past, where if you end up drinking too much coffee, you become much less sensitive to the effects of coffee. And then you just end up falling asleep all the time if you don't have enough coffee, because you don't have that enlivening effect. So what might be going on here is that if you have a heavy coffee addiction, you have bad withdrawal symptoms, so you have a coffee, it makes you feel a bit better, but not enough to wake you up. So you feel better, so you can go to sleep, but not so much better that you stay awake.
I think we've all done that, haven't we? When you've just had too much, and then you cannot keep your
Shake
eyes
like
open.
a jelly.
Yeah. Okay. Very quickly, what makes red meat red and white meat white?
Red meat is red because it has a lot of blood, and it also has a lot of the chemical myoglobin, which is the muscle equivalent of hemoglobin, the same stuff that makes our blood red. Myoglobin is a similar protein in muscle cells that muscle uses to grab oxygen off of the bloodstream. So red meat is meat which is very, very aerobic. It uses oxygen to liberate energy from our food. It does that by having a rich blood supply and an oxidative metabolism. White muscle has a poor blood supply and is very, very good at producing very, very fast, very, very powerful output, but it does it in the absence of oxygen and builds up an oxygen debt. So when you watch a sprinter on the 100 yards at the Olympics, 100 meters at the Olympics, they are using white muscle, but they're running up a massive oxygen debt. A marathon runner is doing the opposite.
Chris Smith, always good to talk to you. Thank you.
This is the story of our Nando's Flame Grilled Chicken, marinated for 24 hours in our unique peri-peri recipe. Kissed by fire, full of flavor, perfectly grilled. And like any story, this story of our full peri-peri chicken has two sides. Yours to choose, yours to share. Enjoy the Nando's full and two sharing meal. That's our full chicken and two sharing sides of your choice for only 277 Rand.
Insurance pulls you in. Pineapple pulls you under. Insurance. Pineapple. Insurance. Pineapple.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
This is your business. Hooray! This is your business supercharged with the help of Zero accounting software. Hooray! This is your business supercharged with the help of Zero, finding you have more time to focus on things you love and not endless admin. Supercharge your business today.
Search Zero with an X. And that's it from us today. I'm Jane Dutton. It's been wonderful being with you. It's 3 o'clock time for the news.
This is EWN.
Ramaphosa's protection unit head off the hook for probing Parapara matter, and Lesotho to head to America for trade renegotiations. Good afternoon, I'm Maki Malapo. The acting police minister has clarified to Parliament that the head of President Cyril